Hey everyone, welcome back to the Kuderna podcast. I'm your host, Brian Kuderna. So today we're going to really focus on all things cyber. It's something that affects us all in today's modern era. We use it all day, every day. And unfortunately, there's also a lot of threats out there that can impact us or our business. So joining me from Europe today is none other than Jurgita Lapienyte. Jurgita is the editor-in-chief at Cyber News, where she leads a team of journalists and security experts dedicated to uncovering cyber threats. With a career spanning over 15 years, she has reported on major global events from the 2008 financial crisis to the 2015 Paris terror attacks and much more. She's driven transparency through investigative journalism. She was recognized as the Cybersecurity Journalist of the Year, and she's also been featured in Cyber News Magazine's 40 Under 40 in cybersecurity as a thought leader on the topic. Jurgita has been quoted internationally by the BBC, Metro UK, Extra Bladet, Computer Build, the Epoch Times, and many other outlets. Her team reports on proprietary research that's highlighted by the Forbes, Tech Radar, Daily News, Fox News, and a whole bunch more that we won't get into right now. But I really want to focus on today's topics that all of us need to stay informed on to be prepared and to protect ourselves. So we're going to talk about some of the most recent hacking events, the methods that some of these nefarious actors are using. We'll discuss state-sponsored attacks versus criminal ones, different ways to protect yourself. Some of them are just very easy common sense. And also, of course, how AI is reshaping the security framework. So without further ado, please welcome Jurgita Lapienyte.
Is going to require work and time and sweat and toil.
If money wasn't an issue, what would I be doing?
Don't worry about it. You'll figure it out.
Change is the only constant.
The Kuderna Podcast.
Jurgita, welcome to the show.
Hi there. Thank you so much for this comprehensive introduction. I just call myself, a curious mind, nothing else.
Well, I think everything exciting begins with a curious mind. Welcome to the show. I'm excited to have this conversation. There's just so much out there. I think when people initially think of cybersecurity, they just kind of get nervous. It's like most folks out there, they don't really understand it. It seems so cutting edge, so kind of this foggy thing out there where at any point in time we're susceptible. Is that worry, is that warranted? Like, should everybody be concerned of that?
Yeah, actually, just yesterday I was walking to pick up a parcel from DHL, right? And since we get a lot of deliveries to the newsroom, right? I kept wondering on my way to DHL's office because I've never been there. I used to have like a courier, just bringing us stuff. But this time I decided to go myself. And, just on my way there, I was wondering that, I should have checked whether the DHL office is actually there because I don't really know. And now, the shopping season ahead of us. So we get bombarded with a lot of, fake delivery messages urging to kind of declare the goods or, some information missing. So I got really, really nervous yesterday thinking, it would be funny if we write about cybersecurity all the time. And this was just an elaborate scam, that I got hooked myself. Fortunately, that was not the case, but, there's going to be way, way more attack attempts, during this shopping season. So now we have like the Prime Days, the Cyber Monday, Black Friday approaching, obviously all the holiday shopping spree, right, that will essentially affect all of us in one way or another. We already will be in a kind of hectic mood. So I think, everyone needs to worry, right, about that. This is not something, from the movies or from scare headlines. It definitely happens to each of us. We're not immune.
Yeah, and it's scary. And that would be one of my questions maybe to get started here is how do you balance that fine line between paranoia, like you said, maybe just going to the UPS and wondering, is this a real package? Is it really for me? Is it or things like that to, we get, in my business and financial services, our compliance office is constantly sending us, they're like tests, they're test emails where you get an email that looks just like something that I would get every day, either from a client or from another colleague. And it's a test, and you have to see in there, wait, that email address looks like it's misspelt, or, that heading, that logo there looks like it was altered, things like that. And then we have to flag them. And if we don't, as we're going through our 1,000 emails every day, then all of a sudden we get a call from compliance saying, hey, you let one slide through, and then we got to go do more training. And so it's like this kind of juggling act of like, you're trying to live your life, you're trying to run your business, but then you have all of these security measures you have to take. What's like the give and take there? Like at what point, because I know so many people that are just like, forget it. Like if I get hacked, I get hacked.
Yeah, I think, in 90% or even more of the times, we would be fine by just doing very simple things and simple tricks, unless it is a targeted attack and someone is actually going after you as a person because you are a journalist, a dissident, you are maybe rich or famous, someone wants to really get you, unless it's that. So I think that, in 90% of the cases, we can just protect ourselves really easily and with simple things, right? Having the two-factor authentication enabled, also like not clicking on the links that you get via SMS, right? Also good company hygiene or cybersecurity practices that your company has, like asking you to flag certain emails, or just like email filters that the companies have built. They usually do that trick, like those very simple hygiene tricks, right? Having complex passwords, two-factor authentications. In most cases, they do that trick, right? Of course, we need to be vigilant and just educate ourselves about some of the most common phishing tricks and what's out there. But obviously, you don't need to be super paranoid. I mean, if someone really wants to hack you, they will. But in most of the cases, it's just hackers, or not even hackers, attackers doing that, at scale, seeing who would swallow the bite.
Got it. So if I'm hearing you right, it's kind of like the average Joe doesn't need to worry that much unless they make their own mistake of going to download the bad link or clicking the outrageous email. Because isn't that kind of how it works? Like you said, you have hackers that go after someone specific. They're famous. They're the richest man in the world, things like that. And then isn't the rest more of like kind of a shotgun approach where they're blasting something out to 10,000 email addresses, hoping just one person clicks it?
Yeah, usually that's so. Obviously, the problem is that it's not only email, right, that they attack us, using also SMS and also more, kind of sophisticated tools and means. And now we have AI also in the equation. So we have deepfakes and more kind of convincing social engineering scams are also becoming more personalized. So obviously it's sometimes harder to detect and to see the thin line. But so I don't think average Joe needs to worry, but stay kind of aware on what's trending, what hackers are after these days. I think it's useful just to know, and especially to know, okay, so this happened, maybe I was, I don't know, sleepy, I was tired, I click on something by accident, and now my data has been leaked somewhere. So it's good to sometimes just know what to do next and not to panic, because the way I think about it is that we've all been sort of hacked, be it companies, enterprises, or just us as individuals. All of us at some point in life clicked on some malicious link, and probably something happened, maybe not devastating consequences, but that's something what happens, and you kind of need to not to panic, but know how to deal with that. What would be your next steps in cases like this?
Yeah. And I want to kind of look big picture in a moment. I know we're getting into some of the nitty gritty because this is exciting stuff, and it's I mean, we love technology, but it is scary where it can go. When you see these things, whether somebody, like you said, they were just kind of tired, they weren't paying attention, they were scrolling through something, and then bang, they clicked the wrong link. Whether it was something like that or on like a massive scale where you hear about these huge companies, whether it's your credit card company, the store that you're always shopping at. I could name a bunch. I don't want to put them all out there, but we've heard about them all where they got hacked. And then you get a letter in the mail or it's on the news. Oh, some hacker got in and stole credit card data, could be name, address, phone number, etc. of 300,000 customers. Is that something that we should even pay mind to? Because I've gotten plenty of those letters. I think everybody has. What do you do? Or do you just say, hey, my info's out there. It is what it is?
Yeah, it is what it is. It's out there already, and some of the information obviously you can change, but some information, like I don't know, your face or your family tree, sometimes your DNA leaks, right? So it's out there already. You can't change some of that. So that is unfortunate. Obviously, we do put a lot of data out there ourselves, right? Using things like single sign-on or just putting extra information on our social media profile that, combined with what companies have leaked about us. Threat actor could combine like really comprehensive profile and use that for identity theft. But again, those are more of the extreme cases that also happen, but maybe not to that many people, right? So yeah, I think more we should do more like as a society, as individuals, whenever like a company is asking for some data, right, in exchange for, let's say, 10% discount, they are asking like, when is my kid's birthday? So then we need to think more about that, like, is that a good enough exchange for me? Should I give that data? And also, at least laws are different, but here in Europe, right, we have very strict privacy laws and GDPR, and companies also are facing huge fines for that, right? So we, as as citizens, also need to kind of put more pressure, more spotlight on those companies, saying, hey, I know this happened because there were like bad guys, and technology is getting sophisticated, and sometimes it's hard to detect those hackers inside your systems, but you need to do better. You need to invest in cybersecurity. It's a cost of doing business, because hackers will try to penetrate your defenses and they will succeed. So if you, want to hold my data, you need to show me, so what are the protection mechanisms there? Do you really need that data, all that information? Do you really need to store it for like a year? Can I just get, I don't know, that discount without sharing that data? Like, data is liability. It's not something you get for free. It's when it comes to like doing business, it becoming liability. So it is unfortunate that we got used to such news, right? But we need to pay more attention, and obviously companies storing that data and dealing with that data need to be more vigilant and invest more in like learning, and also in investing more and more, and innovating when it comes to cybersecurity. It's not something that you can just build a fence one time and it's there. It's a constant job, right?
So I have two follow-up questions to that. One, kind of going back to like, what should we do? That individual that says, hey, I just got this letter in the mail. My information's out there. This is a little bit scary. I'm a little bit nervous right now. What are those steps? I mean, do they go obviously to their financial institutions and say, okay, I'll change my password right now? Things like that I think are kind of obvious. You just got to take a moment to do it. Is there anything else there as like a cyber expert that you would say, this is what people aren't doing that they should be doing? Whether that's kind of like a cleanse of their info or something they could download, some tools that they could use. Like, what are some of those procedures that maybe the average Joe could be using?
Yeah, so I think people still aren't doing like the obvious things that we keep talking about, right? Like changing your password, not when you get
Mhm.
that notification, but just every 3 months change your password to all your major accounts, right? Things like that. Again, set up multi-factor authentication on all your major accounts every time you hear about the breach,
Mhm.
but also just check if all your accounts are actually set up that way. Credit monitoring, it needs to happen again with breaches or no breaches. It doesn't matter. Just it's a very good practice to kind of see your credit history all the time, whether there's any suspicious activity, because sometimes hackers would try use it for a little sums of money, so you probably wouldn't even notice, right? Also, especially when it comes to shopping, try to never store your credit card information on any type of browser. I know people do that because it's convenient, especially for those who want to shop, but don't do that. Also try to use kind of disposable cards every time, even if the data is stolen, the number on the card is no longer useful for the hackers, because it can be used just one time. So these very small things, right? Obviously, just basics. Yeah, change passwords, two-factor authentication, credit card monitoring, contact the company, really get under the hood of what data has been leaked. Some of the data you can change and wipe out. You can obviously get a new, I don't know, passport, identity card if it gets to that, right? Credit card, if you feel like you would even feel more maybe comfortable just kind of not worrying. So just change your card just in case, if you see that even if just partial data of it has been leaked somewhere, right?
Okay. Yeah, so some of the basics, I guess, like everything else, it takes discipline, just kind of remembering to lock the door every night sort of thing.
People
So
don't.
the other
People
question,
still don't do that.
yeah, I know a lot of people are like, yeah, whatever, we'll see what happens. So the other follow-up question I had to all of this is like, when these massive hacks happen where the hospital gets hacked and now all of a sudden a lot of your information was sold somewhere or whatever it may be, what are the bad actors, what are they doing with that? Because, for instance, I was talking with one of our IT guys where they were putting all this new stuff on our computers that we always have to have updated. And he was telling me that like his parents, who are elderly, they don't do really anything kind of new age. They'd never do anything or buy anything on the internet. They're super, super kind of in the dark with that. And he said that he looked up his parents on whatever kind of like the dark web or whatever that they could look at, and he said everything was there about his parents, and they're the ones that are avoiding the computer and that don't even touch it. So it was kind of like, if all of that info is already out there, what are they trying to do with all of these literally billions of data points? Does it matter, or like, what are they looking for with all of that information?
So what we've seen, they are like mostly building huge databases that they use for, attacks at scale. So let's say I have very simple data, like WhatsApp numbers have been leaked, right? And every once in a while, we would see the database resurfacing on the dark web again. Someone's trying to sell that database that's already been there like for years, right? And you can use that, database of contacts for very opportunistic attacks. Let's say there's something happening happening, with the hurricanes, and there's an opportunity to kind of ask for donations, right? So hackers would abuse that. Here, where I am based in Europe, we would see a lot of Ukraine focused, donation calls, because that's what we care about in this region, right? So threat actors would attempt to bombard us with donation requests saying, "Hey, we need to buy new weapons, right, for Ukraine, and you are likely to kind of click the link or do something, just maybe send them money." So that could be that, like, hackers use opportunities and use geopolitical events, right, to kind of to attack people. That's really happening at scale. Also, they could profile people, build smaller databases, and prey on, let's say, elderly people, because they are less likely to fall for romance scams or rom-coms, and they're just maybe targeting and personalizing their attacks, using that information from the dark web that has already been leaked, just kind of presuming that this person or that person is lonely. They might have money because they used to work, I don't know, like as surgeons. So we might lure them into some romance scams and things like that. When it comes to my personal data, right, it's not even expensive on the dark web, right? So it depends whether it's like your medical data or contacts, but essentially you can buy it for like really cheap, just a few bucks, right? But when you combine hundreds of thousands or millions of people, and you combine those databases, you could build those comprehensive profiles and then use that as databases for like very different sort of attacks.
And there's so many things I could ask on this, but just something that came to mind, like knowing that all of that information is out there. Say someone does become a celebrity, they become a Tom Brady, or they say, you know what, I've been good in the business world, but now I want to go into politics, and they want to become a leader. Different things like this where they become an immediate target and they're in the public eye. Are there ways that they can go in there, say if their cell phone number was leaked or something, that your people that you work with, experts, can literally kind of delete that from the web? Is that possible? Or is it like once something happens, it is always there?
Yeah, I think it's just out there, right? You can make sure you are cleared from the clear web, right? And you are no longer indexed, on search engines, and that information is kind of hard to find. But once it's out there, someone must have downloaded it on their phone, on their device, on their server. I mean, it's somewhere out there. So there's a chance it can resurface again, right?
Yeah. I guess that's why you hear celebrities are like always getting new cell phones. That's kind of a common practice that they do every couple months or so. So I want to kind of get into a little bit of your background, if we could, Jurgita. How did you always know that you wanted to get into cybersecurity and into the space? What was some of like your education? Like, how did you get from going into the workforce to now being in such the cyber world?
Yeah, so I've been working as a business news journalist for quite a lot of years. That was something that I was, very much interested in, and I used to report a lot on technology companies and also publicly traded companies. It was also always very interesting to me, how, let's say, shares would fluctuate depending on, who said what. I got into technology news, and then bit by bit we understood that, okay, so now all things cyber that at one point for enterprises seemed just nice to have is actually cost of doing business, reputational cost, right, is just becoming a big part of how you do business, what you do and what you don't do, right? So so I kind of gradually transitioned from business news to cybersecurity as a niche, because it combined what I was interested in. When it comes to my background, I have bachelor in journalism, and then I also studied masters in politics and media while I was already working in business journalism.
Okay, interesting. That's an interesting path. And so just some questions I wanted to fire at you if I could. What are some of the more noteworthy or surprising attacks that you've seen or reported on recently? I know we were talking about some of just the things we all hear about, just kind of the emails, the romance scams, etc. Anything huge that you've seen maybe over the past year?
What I see, what could potentially become huge is all the AI agents and AI implementation when it comes to enterprises, because now, like, obviously businesses are rushing to implement some sort of AI solution because they want to, let's say, become more efficient or save money. So recently we did ourselves a little research on different AI chatbots, right, that companies build themselves, let's say, on top of ChatGPT. They implement customer service bot. This is the something very popular. So we checked Lenovo's Lena chatbot. Again, custom built bot built on ChatGPT and used for customer service. And we discovered cross-site vulnerability, essentially allowing to trick the bot into sending malicious requests to its own server, to put it under simple terms. Essentially, the bot could be tricked to kind of let hacker inside Lenovo systems, right? Just because it lacked some, guardrail mechanisms at that point, right? And given it is a big company, right, we can only guess that, smaller companies without having such budgets obviously can fall for that as well. And yeah, also we saw with the, implementation of AI agents that businesses are rushing to use AI agents as well, because they kind of can autonomously decide for you. But at this point, it's really not safe. And there was this another company with cybersecurity researchers who they released a report, right, talking about a particular browser that I don't want to mention here, because they now again fixed the problem. But essentially, the browser acted as an AI agent, and it would fill your credit card details into fake shops that researchers set up for research purposes. And because bots are, and AI essentially works in a way that it wants to please you, right? It would perform those actions without even asking you. So the question, the task for the browser was, can you buy me an Apple Watch in this particular shop? And the shop was fake, and without confirming, the browser immediately bought the watch, just filled the credit card data on users' behalf without asking, like, is that okay? Because it wanted to kind of respond to your prompt as fast as it could, right? So this is just kind of a very good example of how scary it could be, just kind of letting control out of our hands and trusting bots and machines fully, even though like that sounds very convenient, right? If I want to plan a trip to Paris, right, I could just ask a browser, can you do that for me? Here's my credit card details. I want to fly out on those dates. Want to stay near Notre Dame, right? You can give it all the instructions. It can perform tasks for you, but there's a lot of at stake here, and there's a lot of to be fixed. And obviously, companies are doing and I don't know if they are best, but they are like applying fixes as they go. But this is something that we need to pay attention to the innovation that's going to happen in, I don't know, next couple of years. This
Yeah.
is very interesting.
Wow. In the first instance you had mentioned where there was a customer service bot that was actually fake, that you said that was designed through ChatGPT.
Yeah, so it wasn't fake. It was a customer support bot built, on the basis of ChatGPT. So kind of, customized to fit the company's purpose, right? But because it lacked guardrails, researchers used only like a prompt of 400 symbols to trick it into like letting them into the chatbots systems, right? Like from there, it could have derailed, obviously, because they were like good faith cybersecurity researchers, so they reported the flaw and it got fixed. But were like black hat hackers, they could get into the company systems, try log into customer support systems, steal the data, whatever is out there, and maybe organize some lateral movement within the systems.
Jeez, that's scary. And I wanted to kind of just to embellish a little bit more on the AI. So we talked a little bit about deep fakes, how, and you see this a lot now. I've seen it even on like Instagram reels and stuff where there's comedies where, they're interviewing the game-winning coach or quarterback, and it's literally them at the press conference, and they're changing what they're saying, and it looks and sounds so real. It's unbelievable. And thankfully, most of the ones I've seen are just kind of like comedy spoofs, but it's scary because you could obviously make them say anything. So I just wanted to spend a second on, deep fakes and the generative malware, where AI is kind of coming into play here. What are some of the threats? What is that landscape, and what is being done maybe to stay ahead of that, if anything?
Yeah, so we are using AI to fight AI, crime as well. So it's kind of it's a race here. There are a lot of threats, but the general trends that we are seeing. So AI lets threat actors scale attacks, really fast, but also it lets personalize scams to such an extent, that even like you are talking to me right now, that could be someone else, right? And there are tons of stories where, let's say, there would be impersonators pretending to interview for a job, but actually they would be like fake personas. In fact, with North Korean threat actors behind them, because they are trying to land the job somewhere in the US because they need to send the money to the regime, right? Or it would be very personalized yet enhanced business email compromise kind of scam, right? But with also a video message from your, let's say, financial officer or your CEO, right, saying that, yes, you need to transfer $1,000 to that account. It's really me, right? When you see that video message, it becomes like more convincing. You're more likely to kind of fall for that scam, and they are becoming way, way more personalized. Also, that simple business email compromise, right? So we would be able to flag suspicious emails because we kind of taught ourselves, okay, this is not the way my, I don't know, like financial officer talks or writes. But these days, all it takes is just for a few emails to be leaked, and you can feed that information to the AI, and then it kind of recognizes patterns, and it could perfectly mimic, that email, making it way more convincing. And then everything what we've learned in the past, how to spot those scams, suddenly is going down the drain because it's like getting way, way more sophisticated and personalized. So yeah, there are kind of a lot of layers here, a lot lot of verticals, but it's becoming more sophisticated, and it's happening, way more often.
And it sounds like, if I'm hearing you right, the only way really to combat that is through using other AI. That's like the only method to keep up with that and possibly detect that, yes, that looks literally perfect, but believe it or not, it's not, it's fake. And it sounds like AI is kind of like the weapon on both sides that is being used.
Oh yeah, for sure. And for every legitimate tool that the good guys issue, the bad guys overtake that tool and also use against them, right? But essentially, yeah, cybersecurity companies are using AI a lot as well, like to automate some mundane job that people used to do, so that people could do like more threat intelligence. Also using AI to kind of find minor security flaws within different company systems, just to kind of saying that, okay, you need to patch this and this and that, like, again, obviously closing the most obvious backdoors to some of the companies. So it's a race. Both sides are very innovative, I'd say. Right. So that's good. But finally, I think everyone understood that this is not something that a firewall, can save you, from those attacks. Remember, there were some days when we thought that Mac was, unbeatable, before we learned that, okay, actually it's all the same as with other operating systems. There are ways to get into. And also, when it comes to us as users, as consumers, we need to understand that the more like devices we introduce and the more smarter we become, like at home, and we have connected systems, like the more vulnerable we also are. So now you need to protect and update not only like your computer and your phone, but think about your thermostat, your refrigerator, your mouse, anything that you might have. So like the attack perimeter has has become way more wider.
Wow. And so I guess some of the things I wanted to kind of ask about, and there's a lot of different avenues I want to go down in a short amount of time, but I think one of the things, and I've had questions about this, so I wanted to pose it to you. Is it getting harder to differentiate when we're having like a state-sponsored attack versus just some criminal actor out there? Because I feel like that's what you hear, at least here in the States. You hear something big. Russia was tampering with this. China was tampering with this. And then they could always come back and say, oh, I don't even know what you're talking about. Maybe it was just some kid in his basement. And they always use that kind of excuse that there's some little hacking genius going crazy on the electrical grid or whatever it might be. How is that going? State-sponsored versus just your average criminal? Is that easy to kind of differentiate it all?
Yeah, well, cybersecurity experts, obviously, they have their like playbooks, and depending on tactics and techniques, they can differentiate. Most of the times, they are actually just financially motivated threat actors. They might be, from Russia or Israel or somewhere else, and having some ideology why they are attacking, let's say, the U.S. and not other countries, but in the end doing that for very financial reasons. When it comes to state-sponsored attacks, again, it's very tricky. Some of the countries they have their own hacking units, but also kind of unofficially support very private hacking collectives, just because they are attacking their like adversary country. Some of the campaigns we don't even hear about, because they are directed at some like gathering of intelligence, intellectual property, and things like that. And many state-sponsored groups, they are like way more sophisticated. They're in there for like a long game, so and they are trying to lurk and stay in the systems for as long as is possible without moving there or acting on actually the vulnerabilities they have, because all they want to do is like observe something, by being in the system. So it depends and differs with somewhat of, let's say, some attacks that are sponsored by states, it's maybe more short-term goals, like let's say with North Korea. We see that, okay, so they want to spy on their adversaries, but at the same time they're just trying to get money, because they can't get any foreign currency in any legal means, apart from hacking and maybe crypto. With Iran, right, we saw some very momentarily the cyber attacks, like on critical infrastructure, maybe to kind of send a message to disturb. Sometimes we see some of the state-sponsored attacks kind of happening at the same time, where there's some movement of, I don't know, troops on the ground and things like that in some of the more vulnerable areas. But usually the big difference is that state-sponsored actors are in there for in the long runs, right? So they are there. They will be there, and we might not even hear about them as much, because some of them, they're just there for spying purposes, essentially.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. They're not just trying to get that quick financial gain. And we brought up the financial gain. A question for you in this respect, this conversation: is cryptocurrency, is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it depends, and all the cryptocurrencies are different, right? Some are very hard to trace, and that's why criminals prefer cryptocurrency, because it's anonymous. Also, this is the reason why some of very legitimate businesses and people and thinkers choose cryptocurrency, because it is semi-anonymous. Again, it depends on the currency. So I can't say either it's good or bad, as every good thing that someone created for good purposes. Some criminals find a way to abuse it and make it kind of a bad thing at the same time. So it says more about ourselves, I think, than some tools that maybe some naive people created, or idealist thinkers. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. And kind of in that same vein of talking about finance and investing, what are maybe some of the big companies either that you've reported on or researched that are really at the forefront of cybersecurity? If you said, this is a space I'm really interested in, I want to try and put my dollars there as an investor, what are maybe some of the ones that you are impressed by?
Yeah, so I think a lot of comes down to compliance, right? But I myself would invest in cybersecurity companies, because this is the field that is growing, and it is recognized more and more by big industries. Obviously, financial sector, they are already kind of are doing a good job, but also we see a lot of cyber attacks in healthcare and education. Then they need to kind of up their game when it comes to cybersecurity. So there's going to be quite a lot of investment in some sectors. They're going to rely on some of the cybersecurity companies. I would say healthcare is something that we also need to closely watch, because there's more and more technology coming there as well, and more solutions, especially now also AI on top. There's a lot of innovation happening there.
Okay. But I guess if I could push a little further, so if you're looking into that space, are you looking at the Microsofts of the world, the CrowdStrikes, the big names? Are they just kind of gobbling up that infrastructure and all the AI that's necessary to cybersecurity? Or are there some outside of those kind of brand names that have a niche that they really focus on that a lot of the big companies are outsourcing to, saying, those are the guys you want to call for whatever particular area of cybersecurity. Do you know any of those that are kind of like a standalone that are very good in that small space?
Yeah, but I think like everything I know, it's already maybe too late, right? Because they've
Yeah.
been seen by the investors, right? So all the shovel makers like Nvidia or like Palantir, right? The company that I've
Mhm.
been closely watching because they're like getting all the government contracts,
Contract.
right?
Yep.
And yeah. Also, drone companies, like any company that is, working with defense, essentially,
Mhm.
also was like a bit more innovation when it comes to, let's say, companies that are working with post-quantum cryptography, anything quantum related, because, while we are talking about AI, also the quantum computing is making huge strides, right? And there could be a whole new area of, our vulnerability, that and problems that needs to be solving. And some of the companies are solving that. They're just maybe not making the headlines, so that the big splashes at least just yet. But that's, something that is very important. It's gonna become louder in, I don't know, three or more years.
Gotcha. And that's what I wanted to ask, maybe as kind of a conclusion here. There's so many different rabbit holes I could dive down, but this is all happening very fast. It's hard to keep up with, especially with people trying to live their lives and go to work every day. What do you think, if you could kind of look into that crystal ball, if we look maybe 5 or 10 years out, 2030, 2035, what are we talking about when it comes to cyber and cybersecurity?
Yeah, I think. Well, that's definitely a very big question. I think cybersecurity as a field, it will become essential part of any business, be it like healthcare or beauty products or just kind of some farm somewhere. I think it's gonna become extremely important. We will also be looking at very different scale of energy, because if we will keep the way we are keep going the way we are going, we will need like way more energy, to kind of power all the innovation that we want to see. And with that, we are getting more infrastructure that needs to be protected, more innovative and interconnected systems and third parties, everything being interconnected, meaning there's going to be a need for more tools or people, who can kind of make sense out of all that, and make sure that by becoming, very global when it comes to all the things digital, even that sounds like paradox, because we're already interconnected, but it's gonna be way more interconnected, given that we all gonna plug in our houses into some sort of information system, right? So it's gonna be way more interconnected, I think, again, very much personalized. So I think it's gonna become maybe finally a kind of dinner table conversation, the way we used to talk, where to invest for, I don't know, decades, because everyone was an expert on, where they would put their money. So I think we will become sort of experts, or at least would be able to talk about all things cyber and all things digital, as a dinner, kind of at a dinner table, I think.
Yeah, it's a whole new conversation that's different than we grew up with. And so this was great, Jurgita. I really appreciate all of these insights. I guess maybe to kind of put a bow on it, looking at everything that everything that you've researched, you've investigated and wrote about, are you positive about the future? Are you excited about all the things we discussed? Or are you more nervous and fearful of all these things?
I think I'm more excited. I really love technology and what it offers. Obviously, this breakneck speed is a little bit terrifying, and I know that some people will draw the line saying that, okay, I don't understand anymore, and I just feel that I'm sacrificing more than I'm getting. But I also kind of feel that at least some people are becoming aware of the effect that technology and the innovation is having on them. I think it's gonna, quiet down a little bit in maybe a few years because we now are having a boom of all the AI applications, but at the same time, people and companies are starting to see that, okay, this isn't actually an panacea. There's still like need for people and regular stuff, I think the enthusiasm will die down, and then we will finally see where we could put that technology to good use. So all in all, I'm really positive, and I'm looking more, obviously worrying a little bit about cybersecurity, but I am closely following all the innovation that is happening right in healthcare, in science, in quantum physics. It's really, really exciting what technology, will allow us to do, and how will it affect our life and our well-being. So I think that's really, really exciting.
Yeah, no, it is. It's one of those things where it's like for every pro you can name a con, and but hopefully there's more good than bad out there, and then we can all leverage these tools to keep having more and more progress. So I really appreciate your time. Is there anything that you'd like to leave our audience with today? Any kind of final comment or nugget of wisdom or instruction kind of for all of us out there?
I don't know. Like I already talked so much, but my advice would again to stay kind of try and find that grain of common sense in everything you do, with every breach notification that you get, with every tech related innovation, because what matters are people around us, and it's all the things that are still very much analog things in life, like good conversation, and friends, and just kind of having those dinner table conversations where we actually can gather and have dinner all together, right, without staring to our phones too much. So
Yeah, we all got to be able to take a minute to disconnect. I couldn't agree more. So thank you very much, Jurgita, for the time. Everyone, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Kuderna podcast. I'm Brian Kuderna. We're going to leave Jurgita's information in the show notes today. You can learn more about cyber news and some of this cutting edge stuff that is above my head, but we all got to stay in the know and use some common sense, just like she said. So wherever you're listening or watching, please leave us a review, tell a friend, and we will see you next time.
This podcast is intended for the general public and for informational purposes only. The show does not provide any recommendations or investment advice regarding any specific account type, service, strategy, or product, or to otherwise act in any fiduciary or other capacity. Please contact a financial professional for guidance and information that is specific to your situation. Brian Kuderna does not provide tax or legal advice. Please contact your accountant or legal advisor to discuss your situation. Guest speakers and their firms are not affiliated with or endorsed by Park Avenue Securities, Guardian, or Kuderna Financial Team, and opinions stated are their own. All investments contain risk and may lose value. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. References to specific securities, asset classes, and financial markets are for illustrative purposes only and do not constitute a solicitation, offer, or recommendation to purchase or sell a security. Brian Kuderna is a registered representative and financial advisor of Park Avenue Securities, LLC, PAS. OSJ 300 Broadacres Drive, Suite 175, Bloomfield, New Jersey, 07003. Phone number 973-244-4420. Securities products and advisory services offered through PAS, member FINRA SIPC. Financial representative of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, Guardian, New York, New York. PAS is a wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Kuderna Financial Team is not an affiliate or subsidiary of PAS or Guardian. California Insurance License Number 0K04194.